Fairy Tales reading
The Tale of Michelle the Piglet. Beyond 7 mountains, beyond 7 forests, in a small, charming village called Starweck, lived a piglet named Michelle. However, she was no ordinary piglet. Michelle dreamed of grand adventures and discovering the world, while her peers were content with mud baths and lounging in the shade of trees. Each morning, Michelle gazed at the hill behind the village, where an old, abandoned tower stood. Legends swirled about it, claiming it held a great secret and that whoever unraveled it would gain something extraordinary. But neither humans nor animals dared to venture there. Yet Michelle felt in her heart that she had to reach it someday. One day, when the sun shone brightly and the wind gently rustled the leaves on the trees, Michelle decided that the time had come. She packed her small backpack with her favorite peanut butter and apple sandwich, some water, and a map she had drawn herself, based on the stories of the village elders. "Michelle, where are you off to?" he asked her best friend, a cat named Tom. "To the hill. I must find out what that tower holds," replied the piglet, her eyes sparkling. Tom looked at her in disbelief. "That's dangerous. They say it's haunted." "You know what, Tom? Maybe it is, but if I don't try, I'll never know," Michelle said with a smile. "Are you coming with me?" The cat hesitated for a moment, but curiosity got the better of him. "All right, but only to keep an eye on you," he declared. And so, they set off. The journey was longer than they expected. First, they had to pass through a dense forest where birds sang but mysterious rustlings lurked. Michelle and Tom stayed close together. At one point, they heard something crackling in the bushes. "Who's there?" Michelle called, trying to sound brave. Out of the bushes emerged a small hedgehog, wearing a leaf on his head and looking very confused. "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to scare you," said the hedgehog. "I'm looking for my way home. May I join you?" Michelle looked at Tom, who simply shrugged his paws. "Of course. It's always better with company," she said. And so, the trio of travelers continued on. Along the way, they had to cross a stream, where they helped the hedgehog, who was afraid of water, and avoid a wasp nest that looked very threatening. When they reached the hill, the sun was already setting. The tower looked majestic but also somewhat intimidating. Its stone walls were covered in ivy, and the air smelled of moss. "Well, here we are," said Tom. "What now?" Michelle approached and noticed that the door was slightly ajar. "We're going in," she announced and, without hesitation, stepped inside. Inside, it was dark and cool. Old paintings hung on the walls, and books lay scattered on the floor. The air smelled of dust and age. Suddenly, they heard a soft voice. "Who dares disturb my peace?" Michelle swallowed hard but bravely replied, "It's us, travelers. We came to uncover the secret of this tower." Out of the shadows emerged a figure. It was an old, wise owl. Her feathers shimmered with a silvery glow, and her eyes seemed to see everything. "The secret of this tower is not so simple," said the owl. "To learn it, you must answer 3 riddles." Michelle looked at her companions and clutched her backpack tightly, feeling a surge of courage. The first riddle was, "What is larger than the biggest mountain but so light it floats on the wind?" Michelle thought hard. She recalled often looking at the sky during her dreams of adventure. It must be a cloud," she said after a moment. The owl smiled. "Correct." The second riddle, "What has a heart but doesn't beat, feathers but doesn't fly?" This time, Tom answered, "That's a book. The heart is its content, and the feathers are its pages." The owl nodded again. The final riddle, What is the greatest treasure everyone has but often doesn't value? The three friends looked at one another. Each pondered what the greatest treasure was for them. Finally, the hedgehog boldly stepped forward and said, "Friends. Without them, even the most beautiful adventures are sad." The owl spread her wings and said, "You have solved all the riddles. The secret of this tower is that it holds no material treasures. But anyone who reaches it and answers the riddles gains something far more valuable, the awareness that courage, wisdom, and friendship are true treasures." Suddenly, silvery lights began to descend from the ceiling, enveloping Michelle, Tom, and the hedgehog. Each of them felt warmth and joy in their hearts like they had never experienced before. The owl also gifted them small medallions bearing symbols of courage, wisdom, and friendship. "Let these medallions remind you of what's most important," said the owl. Michelle, Tom, and the hedgehog returned to the village tired but happy. The journey back was filled with laughter and stories about the tower. In the forest, they met other animals who looked at them with admiration as they recounted their adventures. When they reached the village, the residents gathered around them, eager to hear the tale of their adventure. Michelle spoke of the riddles, the wise owl, and the lessons they learned. "Now I know," Michelle said at the end, "that the most valuable things in life aren't things but the relationships and moments we share with others." From that time on, the tower on the hill was no longer just a mysterious place. It became a symbol of courage and friendship, and everyone who heard Michelle's story knew that the real treasures are those you cannot see or touch: friendship, courage, and memories. And the medallions? Michelle, Tom, and the hedgehog always carried them as a reminder of what is most important in life.
Fairy tales reading? Subscribe to our channel to hear more.